every winning team, a key to success is learning the playbook. That's true in football, and it's also true as we take on the coronavirus. The spread of the coronavirus is a serious matter, but there's a game plan for keeping residents as safe as possible. Everyone has a role to play as we face this challenge together. Cover your cough with your elbow like this. Wash your hands thoroughly, a full 20 seconds. If you're sick, stay home. If you think you should be tested, phone your health provider first. Avoid close contact with anyone who's sick. Protect your at-risk family members, including the elderly. If you're not at risk, take care as you go about your daily business. Get the facts now from coronavirus.gov and your state health department. We're all in this together. Let's team up to protect our health.
Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Tiger's Roar. As always, I'm Jonathan Poche, joined by the Budman, Buddy Songy, here to give you all you need to know about sports. Yes, there are a lot of questions. Question I've received most often is, will we have football come this fall? I want to bring in the Budman. Buddy, a lot of uncertainty out there. Get some high elbow through the air.
Good to see you, JP, and good to see everybody. We apologize to all of you about the lack of the number of Tiger Roars that we have, but every week we kept thinking we'd get some solid information, and JP, unfortunately, with this COVID-19, you take 2 or 3 steps forwards, and unfortunately you seem to take 3 or 4 backwards. So I am wearing the sunglasses. Not that LSU has gotten beat in football since we last have talked to you. By the way, I continue to watch replays. Thank the good Lord they went 15-0. Could you imagine having to watch these replays if they had gone 4-8 and continued to lose to Alabama? That being said, we hope all of you ladies and men and guys and players and coaches and everybody in this part of the country are hanging in there. I had a little bit of an anxiety fit this morning, and I tuned into Clarence Buggs right at the end of his show, and I just got this calm over me that was incredible. And I understand a lot of you, I'm hearing it, JP, from a lot of people. Man, I'm eating too much. Man, I'm drinking too much. Man, I cannot believe my husband is driving me crazy being around him. And the kids, hang in there. This is uncharted territory. And as we connect the dots here, we hope you stay safe. One of the things I've noticed, people, and I've talked to people, I get a lot of research, people aren't washing their hands as much. Now, look, I was washing my hands 20 times a day. You still got to do it. And we'll talk about mask. And in case you haven't heard, there was some big decisions on mask. This is just a disposable mask. I'm kind of like some of the politicians. I have more than one, but I don't color coordinate all of them. But that is becoming more of a prevalent thing in our society. Then you get into the distancing, and that's one of the reasons why the spiking of the cases. Young people cooped up for 3 months. You open up the bars, you let them go to the beaches, then you throw in the protesters and all the other things. There's been a lot of people very close passing this on, so it's been a rough couple of days, but answering your question, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and I do think the next month, if you fast forward to August 1, I do think we're going to have a much better idea. I do think football will be there. It's just too much money. Yeah. The question is, JP, what percentage of fans are going to be in there, and can everybody get their ducks in a row and fill out the schedule? What happens when a star tests positive and misses a couple games? All of these contingency things that are going to happen, you got to have a lot of plan B, C, D, and E. And the good news to tell everybody is that LSU's been at the cutting edge. Scott Woodward is a great AD. Coach O has become an incredible spokesperson on many fronts, and they continue to do a great job of recruiting. Going to get a commitment here in about 15 minutes or so from Naquan Brown a linebacker, got a big offensive lineman from Michigan last week. So we have a lot to talk about. And this is also why I'm so calm today. I watched LSU Texas last night on SEC Network and LSU Clemson last night on the ESPNU. They both came on at 8, but you saw different parts, and I compared and contrast week 2 versus week 15, and I got some tidbits that we'll share as we get into LSU football talk. All of the stuff and the controversy with Drew Brees has calmed down. The question is, will it have an impact in the locker room and on the season? Right. And look, we do the shows with Southern and all that. That's the real key, I think, that we're waiting to see. Can we get it together? Can some things happen to where the Southerns, the McNeeses, the ULLs, the La Techs, the SMU, Tulsa, the lower and the mid-majors? Look, LSU they have enough of a nest egg.
Yeah.
But if you don't have football for a lot of these smaller schools, JP, the way I described it, they don't have a monetary sugar daddy.
That's right.
And that's what football is. If you don't realize what football pays for, then you're not paying attention. And so we will obviously keep you updated, but hopefully the next time we come do a live show, we'll have some better news.
At least football has kind of a role model to look after. MLB and the NBA both start up later this month. It's going to look a little different. NBA is going to be in a little bubble by Disney World. Major League Baseball is not going to have any fans in the stands. 60-game season. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Before we take our first break, I want to tell you about everything that's been going on here at the Pelicans. There hasn't been any sports. Picked up some new talk shows if you haven't found out yet. Tune in 10 to 12 each and every day. Clarence Buggs Monday and Wednesday, the Exiles, Bill Perfida and Kevin Gallagher on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They have great guests, great outlook on everything going on in the world. Not a lot of sports. Clarence does get in with Coach Kadar about Southern. SWAC had some new additions with FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, so they talked about that a little bit. We have that, a whole lot more here on Tigers Roar. Reminding you guys to stay safe out there. Don't get complacent, as Budman said. Everybody's not washing their hands as often as they could. And now the big news is, if you want football, you got to wear the mask. Come back and join us right here on Tigers Roar. We have a whole lot more for you on a brand new edition here on Tigers Roar.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here. Some big changes are coming to the Pelican and Cox Cable. July 15th, our numbers are changing. We're easier to find and we're in high def. New Orleans, Gramercy, Lutcher, Acadiana, Patterson, Baton Rouge, new numbers coming and a brand new signal. It all happens July 15th on Cox Cable. Do your buddy Clarence a favor, will you? Get all the details by checking your local guide.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology, which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Farm Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Farm Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
And welcome back to Tigers Roar. I'm Jonathan Poche, joined by the Bud Man, Buddy Songy. Before we took a break, told you about everything that's been going on in the Pelican. Forgot some big news, buddy. Exciting news. A new show added to the Pelicans lineup, Rocket Right Tapes. It's pilot episode today with Hurricane Betsy Barnes and Dr. K. Solar. They're going to have great guests as well. And give you a woman's perspective of everything going on in Louisiana. It's going to be great, entertaining television. Don't miss it. It will premiere tomorrow, I believe, 8 o'clock. But check your local guys. Don't take my word for that. And you saw in the commercial break, Clarence Buggs giving you an update on what Pelican will be changing to when they switch channels. Getting a brand new signal, HD, all the way across the board. It'll be channel 20 and 1020 here in Baton Rouge and surrounding parishes. Also in New Orleans, going from 116 to and 1116. So you're getting that a double feature right there in New Orleans, and all the other great information. Check your local guide or check out the commercials. Clarence Buggs does a great job for us, and we'll get that breakdown to you again later on in this episode. Bud Man, talk about some LSU football. Program said goodbye to a couple players that contributed to the national championship last year, Marcel Brooks and Eric Monroe. Both transfer. We'll talk to Mike Scarborough later on in this program, TireBreak.com. He'll have all the up-to-date information. Want to get your opinion. Does that hurt the team? Can they refill those positions with some new talent? What's going on with that situation?
You know, interesting. Marcel Brooks was a fan favorite. Yep. Soaking wet. He was probably 195 or 200 pounds. But they brought him on the edge. He was one of those guys that, you knew when he was going to do the sack dance. You knew he was full of passion when he played. A little light in the butt. Yeah. And bottom line is that there are a lot of talented newcomers coming in. Plus, you changed over to a 4-3. He tweeted out, and they only had 3 spring practices, but he tweeted out some derogatory stuff about the fact that he wasn't too excited being thrown in with the middle linebackers. Boy, watching these replays, you're going to miss Jacob Phillips and Patrick Queen.
Absolutely.
You're going to miss Kristen Fulton on the corner. You're going to miss Rashard Lawrence and Breeden Fehoko and others. But the great thing about it, when you recruit the way LSU's been recruiting the last 2-3 years, you don't rebuild, you reload. Back to Marcel. I think he probably is going to flourish. Most people expect him to either go play with Dave Aranda at Baylor or Gary Patterson at TCU, more than likely in the Big 12. Also wanted to be closer to home with his mom. And let's be honest, nobody has felt normal the last 3 or 4 months. So if you've got some family issues and you want to get back home, this pandemic and COVID-19 situation has not done anything to make you feel better about that. Eric Monroe is going to graduate and be a grad transfer at Texas Tech. Really liked this kid as a freshman, JP. Yeah. And he played a little bit, and you could see he had superstar written all over him. Then he got hurt. And once he got hurt with the knee, he never came back the same. Good, solid player. I was watching the replay of the championship game, and he hit late a couple times. He was one of those guys that had a propensity to get flags thrown on him. But the bottom line is you got Todd Harris, who's coming back. You got Mo Hampton, who played a little bit. Jacoby Stevens, who I predict will get the number 18 when they report for camp. And then you bring in Elias Ricks to be opposite of Derek Stingley Jr. Don't forget Cordell Flott looked good at times. You still have Kerry Vincent that could play nickel and dime. And so Jordan Tolles, number 21, a new freshman. And for those that forget, Jerry Stovall's jersey was retired, but not numbered. The difference is that there's only one number that's retired that you'll never see emulated again, number 20, Billy Cannon. And now that Marcel Brooks has gone down the wayside, and we don't know if anybody else would grab number 9, but I had a couple people saying, should you retire the jersey for Joe Burrow after only 2 years? My gosh, though, JP, that is saying a lot. Right. But when you look at what LSU fans went through, the ecstasy of having the best offense, scoring the most touchdowns. LSU scored 95 touchdowns as a team. The second best team in the country was 88. So it's great to look back to that. Now let's get into the particulars and try to connect the dots. I brought the mask tonight because we're going to do one segment with the mask on later on in the show. I'll take my sunglasses off, and we'll do a segment with the mask just to see if it's feasible for you to expect fans to go to a ball game. It might be 90-plus degrees. It might be triple-digit heat index, 103 today. And, yeah, they're going to wear it to get into the gate. But how are you going to legislate and police the fact that what happens if 20,000 all of a sudden take them off at the same time?
Exactly.
You got to take it off to eat. You got to take it off to drink, and we know that's going to happen. How is tailgate going to be affected? Will there be social distancing?
Right.
I think we all agree at the start of the season you're going to have to wear a mask. Agreed?
Right. Yeah.
I don't see that changing for the first month. And we'll see. Is it going to be 50%? Is it going to be 25%? Or are you going to have at some point a full stadium? And then the other big issue with so many of these sports that aren't even contact sports like the PGA golf, you would not think that they would have a lot of interaction. If you and I go play golf with TK, we're not going to have any actual physical contact like we have in football. I do think there are in the works, and I think they're working on this feverishly, to have a protection on the helmet so that you will not be able to have saliva and spit thrown at you across the line of scrimmage. I know they're working on that.
Right.
But here's the deal, JP, and all of this is still up in the air. But what happens if you got your left tackle and your center and your running back and your quarterback all test positive? Look, that could be not only that game, but it could be the next game.
Right.
So depth is going to be an issue, and I think most people feel like we're going to have it, but it's going to be like any other season. And the one thing that we all hated following LSU is Miles Brennan and those running backs and Dar Rosenthal at left tackle and all the other new guys that are going to be expected to come right in. And you know how fans are. As a fan, you see all those replays. You don't want to see them growing as a team. You don't want to see them struggle early.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see, because everybody's been in this situation. But how long will it take for the offense and the defense and the special teams to all gel? And I will say this, one of the things that I have a great appreciation for, as we've watched so many of these replays because of nothing else really live and having to be at home so much, the great job that Ed Orgeron did calling timeouts. JP, on all the films that I've watched in the offseason, it happened in the national championship game a couple times. It happened in the SEC championship game. It happened in the Texas game. Right there, the play clock is going down, 5, 4, 3. Here comes Coach O calling timeout, and a lot of these are on third downs.
Right.
And number one, you don't want to burn a timeout, but you also don't want a penalty.
No.
But here's the great thing. They were able to get together with the booth, which, of course, was Ensminger and Brady last year. This year it'll be Ensminger and Scott Linehan, who has been around the world of college and pro football for many years.
Right.
But will they be able to stop the clock? And, let's be honest. This was one of Les's faux pas. He had problems with clock management and spiking the ball and saving timeouts. I watched a replay of a 2007 game, and they won a championship, as we know, in that year. LSU was out of timeouts in the first half with 11 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yep.
So I think what I've noticed is, number one, how comfortable Coach O was on the sidelines, and number two, how smart he was in making quick decisions. It's easy to watch on TV and scream, timeout, timeout, but you got all those people around you.
Right.
You got all these things going on.
Right.
He has really grown as a coach. Kevin Falk, now running back coach, think he's going to be fantastic, both coaching and recruiting. And so you've had some departures with coaches, you've had some departures with players, but right now, if you took me to Vegas, I would think that LSU's looking at a minimum of 9-3 and somewhere 10-2, and who knows what it is. But can you imagine? What about the pressure that Miles Brennan is going to feel? I think he's got the arm, but the question is, when it happens, and live bullets are coming in, and we
Right.
make a lot of analogies with war and football, so please don't misconstrue.
Right.
But when all of a sudden you got to do it in front of thousands and millions.
Right.
It's one thing to watch Burrow do it. It's another thing to watch it on tape. We got to give Miles Brennan a little time to grow up and handle this stuff, because you don't walk off from watching for 2 years and become the greatest quarterback. Burrow took a whole year for that to happen. I hope people give Miles Brennan a little bit of leeway this year.
Well, there's no substitute for the experience that Brennan had, getting to watch Burrow, how he digested all the tape, was in the locker room early to work out, get his job down to a science. He knew exactly where all the receivers were going to be on every single play. That's what you need to do to really be successful big-time football. We speak about the offensive line. If they can keep Brennan upright and healthy, you look at the weapons around him at the wide receiver position. You get the best player possibly in college football back, absolutely the best receiver in college football. You get on the other side of him a Trey Palmer, a Terrence Marshall, guys that are really poised to have big years. Then you add the tight end, which if you talk to anybody from LSU, everybody is almost giddy about Eric Gilbert. What he can do physically on a football field, and matchup-wise, if you have your fourth best defender on an Eric Gilbert, he is going to eat all day. He's going to be very tough to stop. And then you look at the running back spot. John Emery, I believe, is poised to be that receiving running back like Clyde Edwards-Helaire was last year and really have a lot of success in this 2020 offensive team. But, man, we know the players are on campus. Number one priority for this LSU staff is keeping everything clean and safe for the players. They've educated these players on what to do when they get out of the facility. Now, that question you brought up, what do you do if somebody does come down with COVID? I think that is a major question in all programs. How do we go on living with this virus? It's not going to go away anytime soon. You can mask up all you want, take all the precautions you can possibly take, but still, it's going to get through. Kids are going to get it. Coaches are going to get it. People in the facility are going to get it. How do you get past that? How do you live with it? That's really the question I believe that LSU and programs across America are all dealing with right now.
Well, and that's why when you have people like Jack Marucci and Shelley Mullinex and Greg Stringfellow and all those guys that have been around and have done such a great job, it's interesting that you were talking about. Don't sleep on Racy McMath, who is a big
I like McMath.
senior receiver, about 6'3", 220. Terrace Marshall, I talked to some people that were close to him, and if he can stay healthy, I think he benefits the most from Chase, who's going to see a lot of double teams.
Every game, yeah.
Now, if you remember, folks, and if you watched on the tape, there were a couple times where they put Chase in the backfield last year.
Right.
They actually gave him
Tossing
the
the
ball
ball.
a couple
Yep.
times. But you can put him in the backfield and spin him out, and you're going to do some things to get him one-on-one. But Terrace Marshall, you mentioned Trey Palmer. Jare Jenkins is a big guy that has potential to do things.
Kayshon Boutte.
Kayshon Boutte, let me tell you what, you talk about a guy that can shake his Boutte.
Yeah.
He is going to be one of those fan favorites. So I think you hit the nail on the head as far as what I'm looking for. And God willing, we're going to have spring, not spring, but they'll make up what they missed in spring for a couple of weeks later on this month and then go into camp. I think LSU's scheduled to report August 6th and start practicing August 7th. That is if we get some better news than we've had here in the last week. But that all being said, back to that offensive line, who would have thunk it? You know, we said it all in the preseason. The offensive line was the key. And if I would have told you that Sadiq Charles would leave, he had a good year, but he was suspended for 6 games.
Right.
Adrian McGee, everybody thought they were going to beat him out, whether it be Ed Ingram or whoever. He held on.
Right.
Of course, Cushenberry had such a great year got picked in the 3rd round. Damian Lewis, I was watching him last night, and that 3rd down where they called timeout and they're down 17-7 to Clemson.
Yep.
Down on the goal line, they called timeout. Damian Lewis pancaked his guy. Joe Burrow gets in with the quarterback draw to make it 17-13, and the rest is history. By the way, Damian Lewis went pro, and so now you got Dar Rosenthal and others at left tackle. Ed Ingram will be your left guard, and he's going to be an all-SEC, all-American type of guy. Chasen Hines, is he going to be as good as Hines 57 ketchup? I don't know. I like me some ketchup on some fries.
Put on everything, right.
But guess what? Jack Marucci told him, he said, man, Hines, you ought to wear 57. This is a couple of years ago. The big thing that nobody knows about, and once again, you take it for granted because you never see bad ones, 3 bad snaps the whole year from Cushenberry last year. It's not as easy as you think to have your head on the ground getting pulverized by these double teams and these nose guards on the A-gap, and you got to snap it back, and then you got to look up, you got to block, by the way, you got to point out your safeties, linebackers, make all the calls.
Right.
Center, to me, is going to be just as tough to duplicate as it will be with Brennan trying to live up to Burrow. Right side, this is going to be a battle. Cardell Thomas, Anthony Bradford, and this grad transfer Leon Shanahan, who's from Harvard. Right. And then Deculus is going to be your right tackle. Now, you mentioned tight end. Hey, anytime you can see a tight end, he comes in and he's going to wear number 2. That is a big wide receiver. And they are going to put him in space. They're going to put him on the outside. They'll do all kinds of things with him. And you mentioned it. What are they going to do when they try to guard LSU inside the red zone when you have all these mismatches? And Eric Gilbert, I'm going to make the prediction right now. He will, if he stays healthy, he will set all of the catches and yardage record for a tight end.
I agree.
And, oh, by the way, Thad Moss, hey, God bless him for his footwork against Bama, even in that championship game, all that. They utilize the tight end. And, oh, by the way, they got another tight end in Colorado that they might get as well. So this is pretty cool to use that. And then running back by committee, you mentioned it. Look, John Emery, you know what he did? He pumped iron. He got up to 215, had the eye surgery. And I think those guys, the biggest thing that I've realized, JP, catching the football like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and then putting that foot in the ground and making people miss, you don't just have that overnight. It's going to take them a while. I think that it'll be hard to replicate Joe Burrow, what he did with his feet. It will be hard to replicate what Clyde Edwards-Helaire did catching the ball, who caught 55 balls last year. But can you believe Justin Jefferson over 100 balls? Jamar Chase, 20 touchdowns. I mean, these numbers were like fantasy football video numbers last year.
Quick trivia for you, bud, man. How many passes did Thad Moss drop in 2019?
Thad Moss, you obviously it's going to be a low number. It's going to be 1 or 2 maybe.
0.
Well, I saw a couple. I know that there were. It just depends.
Depends on where the ball is, right? If it's a catchable pass, it hits your hands, you drop it. It counts as a drop. If it's a bad throw, it doesn't count.
Well, there's no doubt. He had, and great for that kid because he was at LSU for a couple of years before
Worked through
the injuries.
Yeah.
And how cool was it to see Randy in the stands
with the LSU beanie?
Oh, by the way, I was watching the Texas game, and how cool is that to see Burrow's daddy do the horns down?
Right.
And Matthew McConaughey with the F-bomb after LSU had the 3rd and 17, 62 yards. Jets Jefferson did
with the stiff arm.
And there were so many great moments, but, I do think as an LSU fan, you got to come to a conclusion on a couple things. Number one, we don't know right now the schedule. There have been some contingency plans to actually move the championship games back 1 week,
right,
just to give everybody a little wiggle room in case something crazy happens. I'm not a proponent of football in February. That to me doesn't fly because you can't make it with your bottom line. Athletic departments need football money to pay for the other sports. Back to the schedule. How cool is that going to be? Texas coming in. You hope it's a night game. Is it going to be different? Are people going to have to wear a mask for 3.5 hours in 100-degree heat index? Back to the team. I think the defense is going to be more aggressive. The defensive line is going to have more depth. You're going to have a lot of true freshmen come in and play in roles. And as we know, you feed people filet mignon. Look,
can't go back.
You talk to anybody that expects them to lose more than a couple games?
No. Expectations are about right here.
And, of course, most of you know that there will not be the regular SEC media days. It will be virtual. They haven't announced a day for that. But here's hoping. Let's give Songy and Goodell credit because I have criticized both of them at times. I thought it was crucial. The NFL had their draft and had their things and put the schedule out because we need that. We need to see some semblance of maybe this will happen come August. And let's give Songy a lot of credit. He even said it a month ago. If you can't play, you're not ready to play. We can't let one team in the conference dictate everybody else. So it's going to be one of those where you have patience, but I do think, JP, it's going to be fun. And man, oh man, to see Eric Gilbert, I've predicted he will be the impact player on offense that Derek Stingley Jr. was on defense.
That's a great segue. We will talk some LSU football defense. We turn from this break. Don't go anywhere. This is Tigers Roar.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio, but now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here. Cox Cable is upgrading the signal from the Pelican, but to catch us, you're going to have to tune in now to a new number. Acadiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Gramercy, Lutcher. Check your guide for details.
I've seen a lot of things during my life, more bad things than good. I've lived in a lot of places, but never a home. I don't think anybody cares about me anymore. And now I'm tired. Signed, Brian, age 11.
Abused and neglected children in East Baton Rouge Parish are in dire need of CASA volunteers. Please call 379-8598 today. Change a life of hurt into a life of hope.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Welcome back to Tiger's Roar. Don't adjust your TV set. You're not watching an episode of ER. This is still Tiger's Roar. I'm Jonathan Poche. That's Buddy Songy. And for your sake, we are testing out these face masks, what you might need to wear to enter Tiger Stadium for those first few weeks of the 2020 season. Hopefully, you're allowed in the stadium. If you do, you will probably need a mask. Buddy, I'm having trouble, my man.
Really?
I got a big head. I need to get an extra large mask.
Well, look, I hope that you can get that one through a 15-minute segment. The reason we did this is a little market research. Obviously, my voice carries, so I think you can still hear me. And I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, Bud, you look better when you wear the sunglasses or you wear the mask. Or at least people aren't having to adjust that TV. But it is interesting, and we know that this is one of the things that has been put into overdrive in the last 24 to 48 hours.
Yep.
In fact, you'll watch your local. We are taping July 1. Oh, by the way, two things that are happening in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we're moving to 20 and 1020 on your TV dial. And the great thing about it is 20 on Cox and 1020 HD. All of them are going to be HD
All
now.
HD, that's correct.
And oh, by the way, in 2 weeks, you got to pay Uncle Sam. So if you're watching this on July 15th, don't forget, you don't want to be on TV putting in your tax return at 10:15 at night. That being said, I go to church during the week and have the mask on. Now, I don't wear this one. These are disposable.
Right.
I've got about 3 or 4 that I color coordinate with my wardrobe. And, for 35 or 40 minutes, it's not bad.
Right.
Sunday is an hour mass. And so the reason we're doing this is that I've got a lot of people that have told me if they have to wear a mask, they're not going to go into the stadium.
Yep.
And so LSU is working on contingency plans about what happens in that. Season tickets, do you get them carried over? How do you handle all of that? And as we said earlier, the other thing is that it feels good in here tonight, okay? It's 103 out there right now, heat index.
Right.
But JP, if you're playing Alabama on CBS at 2:30, now granted that's November, hopefully we've got some relief by that time, but regardless, what about all these guys that said, the virus is going to burn up with the heat? Well, guess what? If it continues to go now, the heat's not affecting it. That all being said, I just don't know how feasible it would be to expect everybody. And I'm hearing from different people. Some people tell me 25%, some people tell me 50%, some people say at some point they hope that everybody that wants to go. And look, you're going to have to sign a waiver in some way, shape, or form. And we've talked about this, JP. You and I go to the ball game. It's the second week of the year. and they're hosting Texas. We get 2 tickets. We're not sitting up in the press box. We're just on the 40-yard line. And lo and behold, 3 days later, you say, hey, man, I can't do Tigers Roar. I've got symptoms. And you test positive for COVID-19. Obviously, every function that you go to has got to have a CYA. They've got to make sure. But here's the real problem with that also. You might have gone tailgating.
Yeah.
You may have gone to the store the Friday before the game. I don't think you can just say, I got it right there Saturday night at 7:28. That's when I So we're still living in a world of doubt, and as Clarence Bugg says, common sense. And if you believe in God, we just have to pray. You and I are both spiritual guys, and everybody over here, especially Marty, spiritual guys, and Alan as well. We just hope and pray that this thing can give us some semblance of normalcy, because when we talk about Louisiana and you talk about the year that just happened in football,
right,
this is what makes people want to wake up and go to work and function and be happy. And I worry about it. Now, California's had a lot of suicides and a lot of mental health illness, and so I just worry that if we don't get our football, we could have some underlying issues with behavioral patterns and depression and all those other things. Now, we said defense. Who are you most excited about as far as defensively this year for LSU?
The best defensive player returning to college football, Derek Stingley Jr. I mean, the shutdown corner, it is going to switch to a 4-3 defense, but you still got to line up one-on-one with Derek Stingley Jr. No wide receiver outside of Jamar Chase can beat him one-on-one. This guy is going to be an absolute stud. He's got to become a breakout star, but he already broke out last year in his freshman year.
But they're not going to throw his way.
No, I agree.
Let's be honest.
I agree. But still, when you shut down the big names, that's still something.
Derek Stingley made first-team All-American, had 6 INTs. I think he defended another 15. He broke up another double digit. So the crucial corner is going to be the corner opposite of Stingley. Yeah. But, by the way, do you give Trey Palmer a chance to return punts, or do you keep Stingley back as a punt returner?
Oh, no, I think you got to give Trey Palmer a chance. Stingley just too valuable at this point. I mean, last year they had a great cornerback in Fulton opposite of Stingley, but he is the man this year. I mean, he is your number 1 cornerback in the lockdown, the number 1 receiver for the other team. Got to keep that guy healthy. Yes, he is explosive, electric in the back, taking back those punts. But Trey Palmer, the guy's got world-class speed.
And lo and behold, it's very dangerous. We want to remind people out there, whether you are in great lo and behold, it's very dangerous if you get overheated, and you cannot get enough H2O or Powerade Zero or Gatorade Zero, whatever you drink. All you golfing buddies of mine that drink on the golf course, that's fine, but that does dehydrate you, not hydrate you.
Right.
That all being said, these 2 big guys, and now you got the guy who's called Tank. Now, Ogeron called him Icebox the other day. But Tyler Shelvin, he's going to be a junior. This is his money year.
Yep.
Apu Ika, look, let him work construction for 2 weeks, and I promise you they'll get him at the weight they want him to. Yep. And then Jacoby and Gilry, who squatted 715 pounds last year. Coach O called him. He said, you look behind somebody and you see him walking, he looks like a big old icebox. Well, he is a load. Justin Thomas is back and will give some pass rush. TK McClendon is a guy that a lot of people are going to be watching to see what he can do. We know 97 with the green locks. Glenn Logan had his moments last year.
Yep.
Neil Farrell has been working his tail off. 92. I'm going to tell you right now, my prediction, 92 is going to be one of the starters. And then you have these 4 linebackers that they're really high on that are coming in. B.J. Ojulari, who we're number 8. We know that when you start talking about guys that rush the passer and get after people, they're going to come in. Andre Anthony is still over there. Ray Thornton's still over there. Josh White is a guy that they like a lot. Anton Sampa. And Philip Webb. So those 4, And don't forget, now this is my guy who I think is going to be the leader of this defense this year, number 35, Damone Clark.
Oof.
I love the way he looks, and if he can develop that leadership and that communication and vocal leader, I like him a lot. DBs, you have them galore. We mentioned those. Everybody back on special teams except, of course, the snapper. And this will be like the first time in like 7 or 8 years that a Ferguson's not snapping for LSU. They were fantastic. But Buford Jordan is a former Saint that we all loved. Well, Buford, Georgia is where these snappers come from. And we got another one coming in here. So you look at it, JP, obviously the schedule, week 2, playing Texas is a big game. Going to Florida early on, playing Alabama here, and then finishing up on the road with Auburn and Texas A&M. So even if you pick 10-2, that's still, you got 5 or 6 games that are going to be toss-ups. But like I said, I love his staff. I love where Coach O is. And we have some breaking news as far as the commitment goes that happened a little while ago.
That's right. Naquan Brown, a 4-star edge rusher. We'll talk to Mike Scarborough all about it, but he has chosen to verbally commit to LSU, a great gift for the Tigers. Might do some special things if he stays in purple and gold. We'll talk to Mike Scarborough all about that.
Well, Mike was on top of this, and it's so funny. I remember last year when they were getting ready to play Texas, and I was calling him Sam Ellinger. And, of course, he pronounced his name Ellinger.
Right.
Well, the same thing with Dellinger. No, it's Garrett Dellinger.
Yeah.
6'5", about 280. I don't know if you saw his film, but very, very impressive as an O-lineman. And, look, this kid Mason Smith and Sage Ryan and all these others. Chris Hilton is a wide receiver that they expect to possibly commit later on in this month. And then Brian Thomas Jr., the superstar who is over at Walker, 6'4", about 190, multi-talented, plays a couple of sports. He's like a Terrace Marshall. And Alabama is doing everything they can to entice him to be a part of their wide receiving core. I'll just tell you this. If I watch Terrace Marshall this year, JP, if he stays healthy, there's a chance he goes in the first round. You know Chase is going to be in the first 6 or 7 players.
That's right. Chase will demand a double team every single game, opening up a lot of things for guys like Marshall and Gilbert and Booty and everybody else around, especially Emery if he lines up out wide on a linebacker. He's a mismatch.
Real quick, so you're all in with Emery this year, huh?
I think it will be by committee, but I do think Emery will get a lot of the pass catching attempts. Guy's got soft hands, explosive when he gets to the outside. Maybe a little bit light, but you mentioned he added some weight with muscle.
Yeah, he got up to 215 supposedly, and we shall see how he looks. Of course, Chris Curry was just a totally different running back at the latter part of the year last year. And then don't forget about Tyrion Davis-Price, who is like a bull in a china closet. Put that Florida tape in, and you'll see how good he looks when he gets in the secondary. And they got a freshman, Trey Bradford, who came over from the state of Texas that catches the ball really well. Once again, that O-line and keeping Miles Brennan healthy. We didn't talk much about Max Johnson and the other kid, but lo and behold, you got 2 freshman quarterbacks behind him that have never played a snap. TJ Finley, the other kid, big kid, 6'6", it was 260. He's lost some weight in about 240. Max Johnson, of course, the son of Brad Johnson, who was a Super Bowl winning quarterback for Tampa Bay. But, hey, this is Miles Brennan's team. This is his time. Hey, here's the other thing. You know all the hits that Joe Burrow took and was able to get up. Look at the UCF hit. Look at the A&M hit last year. I hope Miles has learned a quick lesson, and that is get that pad level down, because if you get hit full steam from some of these defensive players in the SEC, 6'3" and 4", 300-plus pounds that can run, you better have some elasticity to your body, and you better learn to lean in, because if you take an upright shot, You could get a concussion, you could get an elbow, whatever, and now you're leaning on people that haven't played the down.
I saw a great tweet that said, imagine being the UCF player that pissed Joe Burrow off so bad that he went undefeated the next year, won a national championship and a Heisman. I mean, imagine that. You got him that mad.
That was one of the cheaper shots.
Yep.
By the way, the other thing that was such a big part of the championship game, and I don't think we talked about it a lot here in Baton Rouge, Skowski, their big, crazy linebacker, and you could just tell. I don't know if he was roided up or if he was just wacky, but he wore that neck brace.
Right.
And when he speared Justin Jefferson, they obviously caught it and looked at it and threw him out. But he's the guy that hit Burrow right before half.
Yep.
And Joe wasn't in the locker room long. He came out and rode the bike. He was really in pain. Look, you're never going to see another season like that with an LSU quarterback with 60 touchdown passes in 15 games. It's 4 a game. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Linehan brings versus Brady departure.
Right.
Miles Brennan replacing Burrow. And once again, it's not as simple. Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be a load to replace this year.
We have Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com coming right up here on Tiger's Roar. Don't go anywhere. Quick break. We'll be right back. This is Tiger's Roar.
Taste the feeling.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bud Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bud Show. Tell you what. Oh, wait, gotta run. Gotta go. Bye.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis. not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bugman, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bugman today, 923-BUGS. All right, we welcome you back here. Appreciate all of you tuning in on a Wednesday night to Tigers Roar. We are back in the saddle and looking for something that we can sink our teeth into and give you LSU football related. We couldn't do it without our recruiting guru, Mike Scarborough with TigerBait.com. And JP, you know, Mike has had a really good crystal ball in looking into that crystal ball. He told me about 3 weeks ago, he told everybody in the recruiting world, Naquan Brown is going to commit on July 1, and he predicted it would be LSU. And Mike, everybody joined in, and that was made official about a half hour ago. So if you could talk about him and what he brings to the table. Once again, I guess this makes, 13 for the 2021 class? Is that correct?
That's right, and a big-time edge rusher, and I'm working on a story right now that'll be up on Tiger Bait here in a little bit, where I talked to his head football coach for a long while, and he says that it wouldn't surprise him that after a year, if he saw Naquan Brown back in Virginia over a Christmas holiday of 2021, if he wasn't close to 240 pounds, that it's not going to take him long at all to go from 205 to 240, and that Ed Orgeron and the coaches at LSU have absolutely said that they love how quick he is off his first step, and he's going to be that passing edge rush specialist.
We mentioned this on a radio show today, but how do you get in at Virginia, and how do you go into a place like that, JP and Mike, and beat the Penn States of the world?
Yeah, it's LSU is absolutely the hot team in football right now. It's they're the it school, and when Ed Orgeron said 2 years ago they were going national with recruiting, he wasn't lying. And part of it was a lot of it was just making the effort. And when you have the type of season LSU just had, and the type of NFL draft and the lead up to the draft, and the award shows and the Heisman Trophy, it just all plays in LSU's hands, landing kids from coast to coast. And I often say, buddy, I've been doing these recruiting shows for over 20 years. You remember what it was like 20 years ago when LSU would be out recruiting and we find out that the Miami Hurricanes extended an offer on a player, and it was like, oh boy, it's going to be tough. And that's how LSU is now. LSU is that school that can go anywhere in the country. When they offer, it makes the other schools nervous.
And JP and Mike, another thing that I think Coach O has really made a concerted effort with, and that is the character of these kids. And look, as we all know, we live in a world of instant gratification. It starts with the phone, but kids don't want to come. They don't want to hear, hey, you might start in a couple of years. We're going to get your degree. You're going to play for championships. All these other. They want to know about PT and getting to the league. And I think, Mike, if you look at Garrett Dellinger and you look at Naquan Brown, you look at Chris Hilton and all these other kids that they're in on, Mason Smith, Sage Ryan, JP, and he mentioned the U. The U and Florida State had a lot of bad boys, but they could play.
Yep.
It's great when you have the talent as well as the character, and it minimizes the off-the-field problems you have, Mike.
Yeah, no, and he's a super kid. I've interviewed him now a couple of 3 times and interacted with him on Twitter. And he's just, he seems like a super kid. I actually enjoyed him doing it on Instagram Live. He had all his friends in the living room, and he had a selfie stick and just went live and had a little card table set up and did it. And I thought that was kind of unique, and his friends and family obviously enjoyed it. So if you remember, who was the wide receiver from that school about 10, 12 years ago that went to Tennessee? LSU was in on it with him to the end, but I talked to his coach about him earlier. Name's escaping me. But LSU has recruited that area for quite a long time.
Mike, the Elite 11 going on right now. LSU has a quarterback commit, Garrett Nussmeier, taking part in the competition. How has his offseason looked so far?
Yeah, I got an interview coming on him. I got someone there at the Elite 11 who did an interview with him for me, so that'll be up on Tiger Bait here this evening too. I mean, we're just super stacked on the site right now, but look, he's affording himself very well at the Elite 11 this week, and that's a who's who, and sometimes that means something, but I'm enjoying watching Garrett tweet the ranking each day and the opinions of those who are there that cover recruiting, how they varied wildly the last couple of days. So LSU's got a special one in Garrett Nussmeier, and I think people are going to be very happy when they see him suited up.
You know, when you hear Garrett Nussmeier, and he did a phenomenal job with Mike when he called Mike and said, look, I'm going to send you the video about recruiting, and Mike and him coordinated all of that. But it's one thing to be a coach's son, but it's another thing, and I mean, I don't want to put pressure on this kid because he's not as big as Joe Burrow, but he sounds a lot like Joe Burrow when he talks about the things that are important to him. He knows about protection. He knows about pocket poise. He knows about not locking in on his primary and going through his read of progressions. Knows that sometimes you got to use your feet to get a first down. And Mike, he's going to get bigger, so it'll be interesting. What do we list Nussmeier? 6'1 and a half, 185, but you hope that he gets 6'2", 200 or thereabouts by the time he's taking snaps for LSU.
Well, with that nutrition center that went live last summer, it don't take long for kids to either put on weight or lose weight at LSU, and a lot of those kids just don't eat enough. The weight will come easy for them.
All right, Mike, let's talk about Caleb Williams, who's also there. Is it a foregone conclusion that he will pick Oklahoma and JP? Man, when you look at what Lincoln Riley has done with quarterbacks, but they have yet to win a game in the CFP Final Four. We know defense in the Big 12, Mike, is totally different than it is in the SEC. We also know now with Nussmeier committed to LSU, it's more than likely going to be Oklahoma and or Maryland, and he commits on the 4th of July, and also doesn't Nussmeier's wide receiver teammate commit on that day as well?
Yeah, and I think, like I teased last week, I think Zachary's Chris Hilton is going to be doing something the next week or two. I don't think he goes beyond the middle of July before his decision comes out. So things are starting to happen. These kids are wanting to get it done and out of the way before fall practice starts and their senior years, and so we'll see how it plays out.
Mike, there seems to be a great balance on Coach Orgeron's staff of guys that can coach but also can recruit. I mean, with this crazy offseason, all the camps being canceled, not being able to see these kids really up close and personal a lot of the time. What are these coaches doing being so successful? I know LSU is the hot school right now.
You know what? It's you can look at it both ways. I am actually thinking that has actually been an advantage to LSU because Ed Orgeron is so involved in the recruiting process, and he's personally FaceTiming and Skype and Zoom. I mean, he's highly involved in that. So, like I said, between the 15-0 season, the national championship, Burrow, the national championship, and then him being personally involved in recruiting, and then all the great staff members, they're doing such a bang-up job. And then on top of those guys, you've got guys in the building like Christian Locatour. You've got Colin D'Angelo and Jeff Martin, and on and on. There's a lot of guys that aren't household names that help Bill Bush and Kevin Falk and Mickey Joseph and so on. So the LSU's got their recruiting dialed in.
And Corey Raymond, who's in on a corner from the state of Alabama. We're hearing it's LSU, Alabama, and Auburn. You got anything on that kid?
Yeah, well, I'd like to talk to him.
Okay. Mike, let's talk about positions of need. What you feel like in the last 12 spots that they will fill, and is it going to be 26 for this class, or will they fill that last spot from last year with a late grad transfer or somebody that we haven't been talking about?
We'll see. I thought that a grad transfer or a transfer in the portal might have come about in the last couple of weeks. I got some info on Cameron Jackson, and his situation isn't as settled as we thought last week. That's on my message board right now. But, yeah, remains to be seen, but the time's ticking.
Hey, one other thing that we talked about today is the visits, or is that locked down until July 31, or did they extend that to August 31?
The last I had seen was July 31st. I don't know if that went through August, or maybe it did.
Okay. Well, inquiring minds want to know what you feel like is going to happen about college football, and if, in fact, because let's be honest, guys, we were talking about why they've been so successful. I've heard Coach O say this on a couple occasions. All these kids are answering their phone. Number one, they're answering their phone because they can't work out and they've been locked out with this pandemic. And number two, come on, let's be honest. You're going to answer the phone when a national championship coach calls you.
And look, when I was talking to Naquan Brown's coach, and the start of the phone call was about what their high school athletic association in Virginia is requiring of them for their workouts this summer. They can't do anything indoors. Wow. He talked about the spacing that they have, even outdoors. And I said, I don't know how nice your gym equipment is, but can you move your gym equipment outside? And he said, I'm going to ask at our meeting next week, but I bet they shoot that down, because then they'll be worried about, us wiping down the bars and the plates and anything else, because he said that was the first thing he thought of, like I did. Can you move your squat racks and whatever else outside if you don't want your kids in confined spaces? A lot of these coaches are kind of at wit's end trying to decipher, what they can and can't do, and it's just everything's in limbo. And as far as the college football season, I was a lot more optimistic around Memorial Day than I am heading to July 4th.
Hey, Mike, one other tidbit about positions of need, and if they'll take another running back, if they'll take another quarterback. Obviously, you and I have talked. They want to have about 4 big uglies on the offensive line. And how excited is Coach O and Bo Pelini with this load on the defensive line? I don't think we impressed people enough with Jaquelin Roy and Jacobian Gilrery and the kid Taylor from Alabama and all these big studs. It's going to be fun to see LSU having some defensive linemen that can throw people around like empty Coke cans again.
Oh yeah, because they have a nice group of veterans, newcomers. They've got kids that they can bring in and out of a game. I mean, if they stay healthy, depth-wise, it'll benefit them late in the season. I keep saying I think the LSU defense is going to be better in 20 than it was in 19, and then Coach Orgeron has said it that the kids are excited about Bo Pelini, and and what they're going to be doing. So just hope it all goes down and gets started.
Hey, second quarterback, second running back if they take them. Who's the favorites right now?
Second running back, that could be one of several. Kamar Wheaton is a guy that we're following. You got the kid at Ruston, who I've got a story coming up on to watch this fall that Kevin Falk is keeping an eye on. You got another running back in Ohio, and what was the other position?
Quarterback.
Quarterback, I think Cole Lord out in California is one to watch if there's a second quarterback offered in the fall.
Hey, by the way, also some film on Peyton Todd, the punter, and I know, Mike, you love this kid, and man, I was watching some film, and it is amazing. We all grew up with Ray Guy and saying, wow, look at that extension with his leg, and obviously the punter award is named after him. But man, I'm excited about that kid. I watched probably 4 or 5 minutes of film on him at your site, and I was very impressed, Mike.
Yeah, no, I went and filmed West Monroe at Alexandria last fall, so I got to see Jacobian and Peyton, and West Monroe won that game, but it was just a different experience to see a kid with a leg like that punting, and then on defense playing linebacker and laying the wood to people. So he's helping recruit for LSU. He told me he's really working on Will Campbell at Neville. Of course, I don't think Will needs a whole lot of help. I think LSU is way out front for him, the 2022 offensive lineman from Neville, top offensive lineman at State. So got several good ones next year. Of course, got the kid at Catholic. So we got a lot of recruiting at TigerBait.com. You want to subscribe, we want to have you.
Well, Mike, we certainly appreciate your time. We certainly appreciate TigerBait.com. It's been an oasis of sports in this crazy world. If they haven't done so already, tell everybody how they can get involved with TigerBait.com.
That's it. Go to TigerBait.com. Really do yourself a favor. We've had a record number of new subscribers in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And we do our Facebook Live on TigerBait.com's Facebook page every Friday night. People are enjoying that. Our all-day chat's still going on every Wednesday. And we're really rolling out the recruiting information. So go to TigerBait.com. You can get on the site for $1 for a week. And like I said, choose the annual option that basically gives you 3 months free. So TigerBait.com, it's easy.
Good stuff, my friend. Appreciate it, and keep up the great work. I'll be looking forward to going through the site after the show today. And by the way, JP, out there and you love football, you don't have a date on Friday night, watch Mike on Facebook for about 20 minutes every Friday night.
Thank you, Mike. Stay healthy.
Thanks, guys. Talk then.
All right. And, it is amazing when you think about it. And we always criticize coaches and players and administrators when they don't have contingency plans if the main game plan doesn't come to fruition. And to see how they have recruited during this pandemic. And Coach O actually says, I love it, man. They're answering my phone calls, right, and I'm talking to them more. And because they've been limited on what they can do physically, I don't think it hurts. And as I said, JP, when you are part of the season and you follow it, it's all a big blur. But as you have had a chance to watch all these games and replays, and a guy asked me the other day after the show, he said, why are you watching these games over and over again? You pick up something different and new every game. Yeah. And look, I hate to say it, but Grant Delpit took some bad angles last year and wasn't even close to the player he was as a junior as he was in sophomore. On the other hand, I'm looking at Derek Stingley. And other than a bad game against Alabama, this guy and Devonta Smith.
There's really a couple plays, right?
Yeah, a couple plays. Yeah. Man, this guy for a freshman. So it's great times, but I think what I've gotten from LSU fans is that regardless of the obstacle that's been thrown in front of everybody, LSU is cutting edge with technology, facilities, recruiting, attitude. They're chomping at the bit. They're hungry. They're still hungry, and that's the biggest thing you fight, human nature. Are you satisfied? Miles Brennan, you think he's hungry to prove people he's pretty good?
It's his turn.
It's his turn, is exactly right.
LSU football, that's a wrap on the talk for that. Tigers Roar. We'll continue. We'll talk some Major League Baseball and some NBA, some rule changes in Major League Baseball I want to tell you about if you haven't been already abreast to that information. Don't go anywhere. He's Buddy Songy. I'm Jonathan Poche, and you're watching Tigers Roar.
That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here. Cox Cable is upgrading the signal from the Pelican, but to catch us, you're going to have to tune in now to a new number. Acadiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Gramercy, Lutcher. Check your guide for details.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Welcome back to Tigers Roar. If you're just joining us, where have you been? If you missed anything, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. A great place to get all your on-demand shows, Clarence Buggs Show, The Exiles, this program, all up on there. Once again, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Go ahead and check it out. If you missed anything, easy to find. Go ahead and click subscribe while you're there, and hit it with the like button too.
Hey, look, this goes back to my old days of teaching in the summer, but all you kids out there, be active, stay away from eating too much sugar, but read a book every week. Look, I know that sounds funny, but I know one of the things that we really haven't talked about, this has been a transition from the mamas and daddies that have worked together in the household, but especially the kids, all the summer camps, and I know your son has been chomping at the bit. He's been playing a little ball, and it's been relaxed a little bit. But you never can go wrong by reading and staying sharp and focused, because you are going to go back some form or fashion back to school. And hopefully, JP, we will see MLB and the NBA start to go through some of the problems of dealing with this pandemic and getting back. And you've got some stuff that tells us it's going to be a slow crawl back to some semblance of normalcy.
Well, that's right. We'll start real quick with the Pelicans. They have been selected to play into the seeding games, trying to get that 8th spot to get to the playoffs. Their first game will be the end of this month, July 30th, against the Utah Jazz. That will actually kick off the seeding games. Kind of crazy. Pelicans started off the season against the Raptors, and now they're starting off the seeding games against the Jazz. A lot of eyes will be on Zion Williamson, the phenomenal rookie who kind of got it cut short, was playing great basketball. I mean, like, upper echelon basketball in the history of the NBA as a rookie, setting up phenomenal numbers. Pelicans could make a run, make the playoffs, get that 8th seed, then face LeBron and the Lakers. We'll see how that goes. But I want to talk about some Major League Baseball.
Well, real quick, I just want to say LeBron has lost weight and he is in better shape. And there have been 3 Pelicans that tested positive for COVID-19. Now, this just happened the last week or so. And I think it's good to have anonymity because, look, if your name is released, then you're going to get everybody blowing up your phone and you're going to have all of this stuff. But with these young 20 to 30-year-old athletes that are in prime shape, it should not be anything more than a couple days of discomfort, getting back with their taste and their smell in a week or so and quarantine. But it's going to be interesting to see how these 2 leagues that are going to debut in the end of July handle this stuff when it happens. During the season.
Just think it's crazy that Rudy Gobert is still looking for his sense of smell. I mean, he got the sense of taste back pretty much, still working on getting that sense of smell. I mean, this has been months. I mean, Rudy Gobert was one of the first players in the NBA to come out and be tested positive. Of course, he touched all the microphones on a stand before he found out he was positive. It's been crazy for his journey this entire time through COVID. Now to Major League Baseball, there has been some rule changes. It will be a 60-game season, no fans in the stands. MLB will have, actually today, July 1st, is the mandatory entrance into the summer camps.
Reporting day.
They'll start doing some inter-squad stuff in a couple weeks. They can schedule some exhibition games against other teams. They can't be at an off-site. It has to be at the home stadium. A lot of rule changes. Of course, the National League will be using the designated hitter this year. Pitcher has to have a minimum of 3 batters or pitch until the inning's over. So that's a little different. Bullpens used to be set up with specialists. I mean, the left-hander coming to face a left-handed hitter. That's no longer the case. You have to face a minimum of 3 batters as a pitcher. Here get to the COVID rules. Can't get within 6 feet of the umpire. You know you've seen it on TV. Head coach, head manager going up nose to nose with the umpire. Spits flying, curse words are flying. That's part of baseball that will be no more this season, possibly moving forward. Another big one. No sunflower seeds, no spitting, no high-fiving, but chewing gum is allowed. This will be a different-looking baseball season. What are they going to do, Bud, man, when they catch somebody on camera spitting in right field?
Well, chewing tobacco, too, which is
no tobacco, prohibited.
I know, but once again, how do you police this, and do you get a slap on the wrist when you get caught doing this?
Right.
Obviously, I talked to Ben McDonald today, and oh, by the way, we want to just slip this in here, and I know everybody is aware of this, but how cool is this? ESPN with their all-time best college baseball team, and LSU has Big Ben as the starting right-handed pitcher. Todd Walker, no question about it, greatest second baseman that I ever saw in college, and then Alex Bregman. And I asked Ben about that. I said, we're doing just college, or we're doing both college and pro? Of course, Bregman getting a $100 million contract probably helps his votes, but 3 of the starting, and we mentioned this with Ben, if they probably had a manager, quote, coach, you got to feel like Skip Bertman would have probably been there.
That was a great interview we had with Ben McDonald. It's hard not to like Ben McDonald, such a humble guy. Liked across the SEC. Of course, he did mention College Station. Kind of treats him bad when he goes there, but he doesn't mind it.
Ben has told many stories on the air with us about College Station, and of course LSU. Everybody knows went over there, and Pat Garrity with the incredible hit and winning 2 over there. I think they were like 51-5 that year, and expected to make it. We also know that with MLB, a lot of these guys are saying, "Hey, I'm not going to risk it for my family." We talked about it. It is prorated. We figured it out. 37% of your salary, 60 games divided by 162.
Right.
10 teams in the playoffs. They wanted 16 earlier. It's kind of sad they couldn't come to agreement on this. I'm worried about a work stoppage next year with MLB.
And you mentioned Bregman and the Astros. You have to think the Astros kind of got a breath of relief from this whole Corona business, because they're not talking about the cheating scandal anymore. You know the fans were going to give it to them hard each and every game. Everybody was joking about how they better get used to standing in front of the pitching machine, taking balls off the arm. Astros, this might have kind of played in their favor. Nobody's really thinking about that cheating scandal. If they come out and have a lot of success in that 60-game season, which they really could, that is a talented roster, top to bottom. Still have pitching, even though they lost Cole to the Yankees. Verlander's still there. They're going to be pretty good. If they have a successful year, they can kind of put that whole cheating scandal behind them.
Well, and Ben talked about it. It's so ironic because he brought up a couple teams that did great things that were not good in the first 60 games. So this is like a sprint, not a marathon. I always thought 162, when you throw in exhibition games, JP, and you throw in playoffs, you're talking about 200 games a year. Here's the other thing that we came up with and discussed today. What happens on all of these incentive-laden contracts?
Yeah.
What happens on your time? Do you get a full year? I mean, how do you become a free agent? Is this going to be a half a year, a full year? All these things, and as we alluded to, you got these new rules, and it's going to be, I'm sorry, if I don't see you scratching and spitting and all that other stuff, it's not going to be normal.
I agree. We have about a minute left here on Tigers Roar. Real quick, we just want to update you. Players will be tested at least twice a day, taking their temperature. Or when they go to travel for games, they can't leave the hotel to go out and eat in public. Any restaurants, they have to have Uber Eats brought in. It's going to be a different world for athletes, coaches, and fans alike. We're just going to have to get through it together. We certainly look forward to the start of Major League Baseball and the NBA. That just kind of means stuff are getting rolling again. And, Bud, man, if you ever needed proof, America especially, we need sports.
No doubt about it, and we hope all of you are going to stay safe, be smart. We understand that people go through anxiety fits. Once again, if you don't believe in God, you better be right. And let's have a little Aretha Franklin, a little bit more of R-E-S-P-E-C-T. To everybody that you deal with and everybody in this country, we're so divided. Let's see if we can get back on the same page and get our sports back and get back to some semblance of normalcy. We need it as a country. We need it as a state.
We certainly appreciate you tuning in to Tigers Roar. Once again, I'm Jonathan Poche. He's Buddy Songy. We couldn't do it without the folks in the truck and our floor general, Marty. We want to thank Katie and Alan doing a great job this whole time. I want to thank you. Don't forget to check out YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Check out all we're doing here at the Pelican. We'll see you next time.